Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. Jamaica's Reggae Boyz will place their CONCACAF Nations League unbeaten streak on the line when they square off against Canada in the first leg quarterfinal at the National Stadium in Kingston. This happens on Friday night. Under the watchful eyes of head coach Hamer Hallgrimsson, Jamaica's Reggae Boyz held their final training session at the Stadium East Field earlier on Thursday. Now, following the session, coach Hallgrimsson provided an update on injuries to winger Demarai Gray and defender Amari Bell.
With some injury doubts, Amari Bell, Demarai Gray. So we're just taking it basically a day by day. Hopefully they can be involved, but we are taking it day by day if they are available, etc. So, but I think most of the players are fit and ready. But these two in particular are in doubt of playing.
Yeah, pretty important fixture this for the Reggae Boyz, Moran and Ricardo. Canada, a top team in CONCACAF. And the fact is, the Jamaicans being at home would want to get something out of this opener in the two-leg matchup.
Definitely, and we know that Canada is a tough opponent. You know, the Reggae Boyz have faced them before, and of course, it's been a really tough match for them. There is an advantage of playing at homelands, but you know, we always say that it's okay to play at home and get the support of your fans. But here in Jamaica, we've also had the issues where, you know, fans have felt that, you know, they didn't get the result that they want and they've been a bit disappointed. So the turnout is not what we expect. So I'm hoping that, you know, everybody rallies around, if I'm to use that term, and go out to support the Reggae Boyz, and that we see some sort of fight. I am not even asking too much for a win against a team like Canada or Ricardo and Lance, but I'm asking to see intention. I'm asking to see fight. I'm asking to see, you know, some sort of tactic, a plan, and I would be okay with that because I believe in having a process and having baby steps till we get to where we want to. So I'll be okay with just that.
Yeah, we're looking at real massive games here for the Caribbean teams in the CONCACAF Nations League, because not only are they trying to get to the CONCACAF Nations League semi-finals, but this is a fantastic opportunity to qualify automatically for South America's top competition come next year. So this is a major opportunity. Massive blow, I think, for the Reggae Boyz if Demarai Gray is unable to take the field on Friday, because he has been so important to this Jamaican team since he came in at the Gold Cup. 5 goals in 9 appearances, and he is such a live wire on the wing, and whenever he has the football, Demarai Gray, it seems as if something can happen for the Reggae Boyz, and they will need that in the game against Canada. They will need players of his quality. They will need players who can make half chances into chances, who can put away the full chances at will. And if they don't have that, then I think it is a massive blow. Bell, I think, would be a miss as well. But Demarai Gray, without him, I don't think this Reggae Boyz team is as good, especially going forward, as they really can be. But having said that, there are other quality attackers in the lineup, Lance and Mariah, and if he is unable to take part, then the expectation is that they will step up. Leon Bailey, for example, has been in fabulous form, playing for Aston Villa, whether it be in the Conference League. He's not been starting as much in the English Premier League, but in Europe, he's getting the starts. He's performing well. He is scoring. He's assisting. And his overall gameplay seems to have gone up a notch in the last few weeks. So hopefully that type of form will be shown in the colours of Jamaica as well.
Yeah, I share your opinion that Demarai Gray is the biggest impact player in the current Jamaica squad. But to be honest, the strength of this Jamaica squad is offence, and he is not the only person with that responsibility. And if it is that he is unfit to play, as we hope he will not be, because we'd like to see him play, yes, the offensive strength that we are seeing on paper needs to come to the fore and get some goals in his absence, because he has scored some very important goals, and he's the type of player, as Ricardo just mentioned, whenever he has the ball, there just seems to be something effervescent about the teams attacking in that moment, and he just looks likely to score every time he goes goalwards, and he's a very goal-focused player. A lot of times you see him cutting in and he has passing options, but he has confidence in his own ability to score, so he'll go for the strikes himself. And very often his decision to go for goal himself is rewarded with a strike. So he is, without question, the biggest impact player in the Jamaica squad.
And you're very much right, Lance. And I did mention Leon Bailey and the type of form that he has been in Europe. But there's also Shamar Nicholson, who I think has been improving. Certainly the last time there was Nations League action, I thought Shamar Nicholson looked a significantly improved player from what we had seen in the Gold Cup. He did score quite a good goal as well. I think it was in the Grenada game, and he had a penalty in the following game against Haiti. So he will take a lot of confidence from that. He had a goal at the weekend as well. So that's good. Mikhail Antoni is in the setup. So you are right. There is quality up front, but I just believe that Demarai Gray has that X factor. And with him in the side, it is a much better setup. But having said that, there is still quality around him.
Yeah, and the game will be live on SportsMax tomorrow at 7 p.m. Lance, what type of football are we to expect from this Reggae Boyz team against Canada?
Well, I think they'll have to make an adjustment against the Canadian team because of the overall quality of Canada's team. But we have already said that the strength in this Jamaican team is their offense. And with the quality players that are playing on the front end of the Jamaican team, you have to expect that they will place a lot of emphasis in service to these players and trying to get as many balls up front to them as possible. Having said that, they would have to ensure that their defense is tight because the Canadians will make them pay for defensive errors. And while generally speaking, this Jamaica team has looked reasonably solid in defense, sometimes your defense is only as good as the sort of pressure your opponents and the attacking team that you're up against will put up against you. So I expect the Jamaicans to play a fairly open game because they would want to win this home fixture.
Yeah, and I think what is critical to point out as well, remember Canada weren't great at the CONCACAF Gold Cup, but the squad that I've looked at for this two-legged tie is a significantly better squad than the one that they took to the Gold Cup. A number of their first-choice regulars back in the setup. So this will not be an easy game or an easy set of matches for the Reggae Boyz, and they will need everyone to be at their best if they are to stand a chance against Canada.
Yeah, that's a fact. Now, Jamaica's Reggae Boyz, not the only CARICOM team getting ready for League A quarterfinal play. Later this evening at the Q2 Park in Austin, Texas, Trinidad and Tobago's Soca Warriors will have a massive task when they face the United States. That's the #1 ranked team in CONCACAF. This match can be seen live on SportsMax 2 at 10 p.m. Eastern Caribbean time, 9 o'clock in Jamaica. Now, despite suffering a heavy 6-0 Gold Cup loss to the USA this past summer, Soca Warriors head coach Angus Eve believes his team is both mentally and physically prepared for the encounter.
Well, I think the guys are fit and fit from a standpoint of body fitness and way of that. As I said before, in numerous, they will be stretched for match fitness. And we have to be tactically aware and tactically astute in cutting down the amount of mileage that they run on the game. So we would have to do some different stuff in the match. But at the end of the day, we're here to play. We're here to compete. We know what happened to us in the Gold Cup. The boys are really motivated for that not to happen to us again. I was reading something today, and the stats was overwhelmingly against us in the series against America. But as I said before, we're motivated and we want to go out there and work very hard. Quarterfinals of the Nations League before, so that is uncharted waters for us. Also, we play in I think the 10th ranked team in the world, and we way down the pecking order. So we're in a rebuilding stage, as I keep saying before, and the rebuild is going a little bit faster than we expected because we're in the A. We've maintained our position in the A. I think that was first quarter storm. So anything now we get, anything now we play for, we're going to play with our hearts. But anything now we get will be a bonus for us. And the opportunity to play in the Copa America is a massive bonus for us. So we're not taking these games lightly at all. And we want to go and put our best foot forward.
Yeah, so the USA, as Angus Eve correctly pointed out, ranked 10 in the world at the moment. Their last international, they beat Ghana by 4-0, I think. So they're in good goal scoring form, and TNT, they'll have some work to do for sure.
Yeah, they'll have a lot of work to do. What I will say is, though, after that 6-0 thrashing, Angus Eve, knowing the type of coach that he is, he's going to ensure to prepare his team for there not to be a repeat of that 6 goal, right? So I think coming into this encounter, they're going to be better prepared. Coach would have rewatched those tapes. He would have figured out where the TNT Soca Warriors faltered. And I think we're going to see an improved performance from the TNT Soca Warriors. I'm not saying that the USA will not defeat them, but I'm saying the loose areas that we saw in the last 6-0 defeat, they're not going to be there.
Yeah, and you know what? I think Angus Eve summed it up well, Lance and Mariah, because I think ultimately it's about showing that as a unit you are continuing to improve. Yes, they got that 6-0 spanking at the Gold Cup, but they have looked an improved side since then. And the fact that they're in the quarterfinals is testament to that. The truth is, if you had said that Trinidad and Tobago would be in the quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Nations League 1, then you probably would have said a couple months ago, yeah, definitely not. There's no way they come through that group. Well, they did come through the group, and here they are. The thing, though, Mariah, again, and I just look at the US squad,
yes.
It was a quality squad, but it wasn't the strongest US squad that was at the Gold Cup, and this squad will be improved from that one. So a lot more for Trinidad and Tobago to think about in terms of the quality that they're going to be going up against. So it will be tough. There is no doubt about it. It will be extremely tough, but for me, it's about just seeing how much progress they have made in the last 3 or 4 months, because by being at the quarterfinal stage, I think Trinidad and Tobago has already won in this case, for them at least.
Yeah, and you know what? We have to consider, too, that their Gold Cup experience was a pretty toxic one, because on reflection and hearing what happened in the camp, there was some discord between some of the senior players and Coach Angus Eve. And Kevin Molino, heading up that senior player group, now retired from international football because he publicly, or for reasons that he made public, that he disagreed with the path of the coaching structure or the coaching decisions and form of the team, or the strategies that the team was employing at the time. So I think this TNT team, while it may not have the experience of the team overall that played in the Gold Cup, they are probably a more unified unit, because I get the impression that Angus Eve has galvanized these young players now, and there certainly appears to be more harmony in the team now. Having said that, an away game against the USA in Texas will be difficult for newcomers or rookies in the squad. But you know, this is where you have to test yourselves when you're a young player and you want to show that you're ready for international football.
Yeah, and the only good thing is the second leg, they get to play in Trinidad and Tobago. So they'll have the crowds coming out to support them. They'll have home crowd advantage. They'll have home turf advantage, is what I wanted to say. So I think even if they make slip-ups in this first leg, they'll have the second leg to rectify that.
Yeah, and I don't want to be negative, but the truth is, as far as I'm concerned, tonight is about damage limitation for Trinidad and Tobago. It's trying to ensure as much as possible that the USA don't put a massive score on the board. I'm not talking about cricket, we're talking football.
Yeah, no 6 and up.
Yeah, just to be able to at least feel that they have a chance going back to Trinidad and Tobago.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's for sure. So the USA getting ready to entertain Trinidad and Tobago tonight in the CONCACAF Nations League quarterfinal, and this is a League A encounter. There were several other matches scheduled for today. In fact, there's been the completion of one match, Dominica defeating the British Virgin Islands by 2-1 in an earlier game. That match just finishing within the last hour. St. Kitts and Nevis facing St. Lucia later on this afternoon as well, and a couple of other games in the CONCACAF Nations Leagues, League B and League C. We go to break, and we'll have more on The Zone after this.